Novaville, an ideal suburb for ideal people. Not necessarily entirely waspish, but certainly with a flavour or two of white, Anglo-Saxon and Protestant. The characters who we've already been introduced to, Kevin, Margot and Doug, and their assorted families, friends, neighbours and associates, are of course very excited for the arrival in the next week of the famous Steve Sanderson. Their great hope, the beacon of joy and optimism that Novaville has produced somehow. But that's not the concern now. We've been over that. The concern now is what happened to Sally Kennedy and her friend Fiona. Doug and, well, I believe Margot have now reviewed the footage. The footage of a dark shape, a man shape, stalking the two young women on their way home from school. Sally Kennedy, she made an escape just as she said she did. She smacked the man in the face with her schoolbag and ran into the woods. Good for her. Doug, you're probably very proud. Fiona was a little slower, maybe paralysed with fear. This happens. It happens when there's a weirdo, a freak, a creep, a pervert stalking you. Sometimes you know in your heart that what you need to do is run, but your legs don't listen to your heart or your brain, and you stay frozen for just a few seconds too long. Maybe that is what happened to Fiona, because Sally explained to you in rather vague terms that she could hear something happening, and whatever it was that she could hear frightened her to her core. Led to her delay in reporting this even to her father. And you don't know where Fiona is. You don't know that her mother, she has a single mother. It's sometimes the talk of the community, to be quite honest, that Fiona was always going to end up in a bad way with a single mum. But that's not the point right now. That's not what we're worried about. We're worried about this girl who, well, at least if Sally's to believe, something terrible has happened to her. Of course, Kevin has been through his own woes, public shaming. He was only trying to look after his kid, and it seems to have blown up in his face. That barbecue will be one remembered for the ages. I mean, Kevin, there's a way out of this, you know. As word starts to spread, rumours start to whisper that there's some video of a predator in the community. You might be able to capitalise on this, Kevin. You might be able to get people talking about that instead of what blew up between you and your wife, as mercenary as that sounds. So let's go first to Kevin Miller. Maybe he is consorting with his friends Margot and Doug. Maybe he is trying to patch things up with the wife. Maybe he's trying to hold what remains of this barbecue together.
After everything that happened with Laura, after, well, the scene that was caused, I think I have tried to find my way to her, to just check in, just to see if there's some way of still saving this. I mean, perhaps if I can make sure that everything is okay. We can end the night both being there together and show that everything's okay. It was just a momentary thing. Perhaps it was the alcohol, you know. Those kinds of things happen. How much am I aware of what has been going on with the children, though? I mean,
you've heard snatches of conversation, but so far there's been no kind of community meeting. Doug and Margot are aware of what's happened now, but they haven't made an announcement. Maybe they're about to. We'll see shortly. But for the time being, you're just hearing fragments of rumour. And it may not be from Doug and Margot that those rumours have originated. Sally was clearly in some distress, and eventually people cottoned on to the fact. There's a lot of very eager ears in Novaville. People started approaching Doug, not out of concern, but out of curiosity. Their drinks in one hand, a hot dog in the other, listening in for just parcels, piecemeal, of juicy information.
Where is Ron and Walker now? Are they at home as well?
They're home. You don't have any reason for concern about their health. They're inside the house. After everything blew up, Laura, she said to your children, it's time to come in, stop playing. There are still other children here in your garden enjoying the barbecue, but the barbecue itself is a bit of a wet fart. It's dying on its arse.
Well, I'll need to just go check in on my family then. If I can speak to Laura, that would be great, but I bet she's still very, very upset, and I don't think that trying to say anything further will really fix anything. But perhaps, I don't know, perhaps if I talk to Walker, perhaps if I settle that, I can report that to Laura and then show that everything's all right. It's been dealt with, and it's not going to be something that she will have to worry about anymore. So I'll head inside just to see what the situation is.
The situation inside is as you expect, Kevin. The children have been sent to bed without even brushing their teeth. Laura is sat there on the sofa. She has a glass of wine in hand. She doesn't look up at you, but she does take a swig as you enter through the doorway. That is her acknowledgement of your presence, and you know it's the herald of an argument to come. As she places the glass back down carefully on the coasters given to your family by your parents. They're amusing little designs. They have different birds on. Some of them, to great hilarity, say words like cock and tits on. It's a party piece, a conversation piece. Laura's never liked them. You enjoy a joke every now and then, puerile as they might be.
Humor doesn't always have to be that high level, I find. Well, I'll try to approach gently and just kind of show that I'm not holding any anger or any grudge towards what happened. I'm trying to come across as wanting to patch things up because I legitimately want to do that because I don't have a choice. I am upset with what happened. I can't believe that she did what she did. But what am I going to do? Divorce her? It's not as if that's even possible, so I have only one choice. I have to fix this. I have to find some way of making this work, like I have for some time now. So I'll just try and sit down, some distance away still. I don't want to invade her private space, and I'll just ask, how are you doing?
She turns. It's clear she's been crying. Her makeup has run a little, but not too much. You think, in fact, she fixed it, but not to the degree that it actually looks perfect. Her face is still a little blotchy. She bares her teeth. There's something quite animalistic about it.
I should have told you immediately. I'm sorry.
All I really care about, Kevin, is, you tell me the truth. I think you underestimate me. I think you treat me like some trophy wife who you can parade around town, but I don't think you value me or what I bring to this relationship, what I bring to our kids and the community.
I value you. I wouldn't be here without you.
Oh no, that's certain. You wouldn't be here without me. These people wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. These kids, our kids, wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me.
That's right.
And yet I am forced to discover a picture, and I've got to say it's anatomically accurate, at least as far as you're concerned, of you with your your terrible, your infernal machinery plugged inside Margot Young's rectum.
It is a very disturbing picture, I agree. I don't know where he would have gotten those ideas from.
Oh, so you're still actually blaming Walker for this?
I don't understand where he would have seen these kinds of images.
She chews that over. She works her jaw, goes side to side. You know something horrible is coming. Oh, I know exactly where he got these images from. It's you and your filth on your laptop. Those magazines I told you to throw out years ago. He's found them. I'm sure he's found them. I should have been firmer with you. A married man shouldn't have that kind of thing. There's no reason. What don't I give you? Kevin, what don't I do for you? What part of me? Well, in fact, I think I'm pretty certain what part of me you want, based on this illustration, if it's anything to go by. What if he's looking at this and he's seeing you and Margot of all people, my friend? Have you been with her? And don't lie to me.
And here I will tell the truth. What I am, of course, not asked about here, fortunately, is, well, the other thing that I went through years ago. No, I'm asked about Margot Young, and when it comes to Margot Young, there is only the truth. And I say, no, I have not been with Margot Young. And that is the truth. And I promise you that.
She breathes out, she sits back, she picks up her wine again, she finishes it in one swift gulp, places the glass down. Now it's not on the coaster, it's just on the coffee table. She looks at you, her eyes half closed. I think Margot Young is a bad influence on our children. I think the clothing she wears, the way she struts around in the garden, the amount of leg that she shows, I think she has been having some conversations either with Ronald and Walker or with her offspring, and they've been putting thoughts in our children's head. I want you to talk to her, and I'm thinking we might need to make efforts to distance ourselves from the Young family. I mean, never mind the fact that half of the rest of the community are depicted in this, and you can see the gears grinding. She's trying to think of an artistic reference, and she looks around the room, she looks at books on the shelves, she's looking at spines. You've got coffee table books you've never actually read, but damn it, they're good for show. And she says, like some Hieronymus Bosch painting. And she's clearly quite pleased with that reference.
Do I know Hieronymus Bosch?
Well, you've got a book of his art, the famous Bosch piece of the descent into Inferno, but you can't say that it's a mainstay in your reading list. It's just there, you know. It's one of these oversized books that sometimes gets placed on the coffee table if you've got someone interesting coming over. It makes you look more interesting than you are.
Yeah, in reality, I don't really have time to read anything. I need to watch game taping and review plays. That's what I gotta do.
Well, let alone art. That's for people with time on their hands. And softer hands than you.
Yeah.
So you're going to speak to her. I want to know if she has been putting thoughts in our boys' heads.
Let's think about this, and let's think about how we handle this. Margot Young is a very important part of this community.
Oh, don't you start acting scared now, Kevin.
No, I'm not scared. I'm just saying that we need to handle this with care. Whatever has caused this, wherever he's gotten these images from, well, we need to handle this with finesse. Because people are going to remember what they saw today, and let's just make sure that there's nothing else that they will remember. With any luck, and I say this very callously, with any luck, people will forget about what happened today because of this other thing that seems to be going on.
What other thing?
It was something about Sally Kennedy and her friend. Something seems to have happened. I didn't overhear everything, but people are... Yeah, it's something serious. You might want to come outside and hear about it yourself. But I just wanted to make sure that you're alright.
I think I'm going to finish off this bottle and get myself to bed. I'm going to let you deal with these guests.
Will you do that, honey?
Please. You haven't earned the right to call me honey, Kevin. This is your mess. Fix it.
I will.
It all seems frightfully unfair. Of course it does. You're not responsible for this. You didn't encourage Walker to draw this, and you fully intended to have this conversation with Laura when time allowed. But right now you are most certainly being read the riot act and doing your best to maintain some decorum. But she can barely even look at you. There's very little compassion in her eyes, and you're not sure that there's much forgiveness there. Right now, she has redirected her ire to the person who you are fucking, at least in an illustrated fashion. But yeah, how long before that ire gets redirected to you? Who knows? Your wife, Laura, has been increasingly incendiary. She lashes out, you know this. She believes everything she reads. Putting an image in front of her is even more dangerous. It's not that she's simple or stupid, but she is easily led. And certainly when it comes to vivid imagery, vivid stories, she falls under their influence rapidly. You know this.
I do. I do know it, and I also know better than trying to fight back on this. Yes, it's terribly unfair. It's completely out of line, but in a marriage, you learn that sometimes you have to take the L. You can't get the W's. It's just like real life right now with the team.
Can I ask you to make a keeping it together roll? Not regarding lashing out at your wife, but how you internalize all of this.
That is a 10.
In that case, as you leave the living room, head back out into the garden, taking your breath is shaky. Your fists are clenched. You're not going to take it out on Laura, no. I mean, hell, you don't want even more ammunition provided to her, but if someone speaks to you the wrong way, right now, yeah, you're not storming out, but you are on a hair trigger, my friend.
That's right. I will put up with a lot of things with my family, with my wife, because she's earned that. She's earned that right. But it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good at all. So I really hope no one tries anything now. This evening was supposed to be fun. It was supposed to be an opportunity to show off my family to the community, to impress people, to show them what I know of myself, that I'm a leader of this community. I lead the team, for God's sakes. That I am the alpha. But so far, well, tonight has really gone completely the opposite direction. I look I look weak. Pathetic. Pathetic again. I'll head out back into the garden.
Margot and Doug. Are you still in this garden, or have you headed elsewhere? You tell me.
I do believe I headed straight home the moment I finished talking to Margot. I took Sally by the hand and marched straight home. But there was an indication that I was probably going to call Margot later.
That's right. So, in that case, let's go to Margot. Margot, have you remained behind following all this drama? I'm going to say that, given Doug has asked for access to the footage, there is no way your curiosity would have prevented you from looking it up yourself.
Oh no, that curiosity would have been just too much to resist. I imagine I immediately started going through my phone. I saw the footage. Had a hard time reconciling exactly what I was seeing, because not only were there children in danger, our children, our community's children, but that figure that was pursuing them, there's something so familiar about that figure. And I'm trying to make a connection, but my logic and my rationale won't make a connection that just can't possibly be there. And I think as I'm looking at my phone and I'm reviewing that footage again and again, just in my periphery, I recognize maybe I overplayed my hand. People are talking to me, but I'm not responding. My nose is into my phone and they're talking, they're whispering, they're chittering, and they know something is up. And they might possibly know that I know something. And I don't know if there's a good way to play this after I've already overplayed my hand. So I'm going to put my phone away. I'm going to very quickly collect Isabel and Isaac, and we're going to head home.
Isabel and Isaac put up a little bit of a fight. They were having fun. Even if some of that fun was pushing other kids around. They were having fun. And so they pout and they say, Mum, we're having a good time. Just playing with Cherry.
I know, sweetie, but we need to go. So let's go. Don't argue.
Yes, Mum. They know what the repercussions will be if they resist for too long. And so they climb into... In fact, you probably didn't drive. You're all in a community, so it's a walk home.
It's a pretty walk. It's a beautiful neighborhood. Aesthetics are important.
You tell me, Margot. You know the shortcut that you saw in that footage. Are you going to walk it with your children? Or are you going to stick to the main road? And the sidewalk that goes along the front of all the houses here.
We're going to stick to the main road. I have my children with me. And I just don't have enough. I don't have enough information to play fast and loose. Especially with the twins here. So I'm going to get them home. On the way, I am going to shoot a capture of that video over to Josh. I will make sure that that's directly to him with a message for your eyes only. And then I am going to send a text to Mr. Kennedy. We need to meet in person.
So about 2 minutes later you get a call. It's Josh. What is this?
I'm still not quite sure. We were at the Miller's barbecue.
Uh-huh.
Sally Kennedy came in rather upset and a fright. She spoke.
Yeah, I saw her in the footage.
She spoke to her father. She said there was an incident on the shortcut back into town. Doug had me pull the footage. She's very careful not to call Mr. Kennedy to her husband. She knows better than that. Doug asked me to pull the footage, and this is what I saw.
Well, no one's come to me about this aside from you, Marg.
I think Doug's trying to keep it quiet, at least for the time being.
Keep it quiet?
please.
Christ, you watch those unsolved mystery programs. You know the first 24 hours are essential. You're keeping it quiet? What's happened? So Sally came to the party. What about the other girl? Fiona Skinner, wasn't it?
We don't know what happened to Fiona.
You...
Josh, please don't yell at me.
Jesus Christ, Marg.
Josh, I said...
How often do I need to tell you? How often do I need to tell you and Doug and all the others in the neighborhood watch? If you see a crime being committed, it comes to me. You don't try handling it as some band of vigilantes. You know how that ends.
Baby, I did come to you. I'm coming to you now.
Yeah, well, okay. So I'm going to have to reach out to what's the Kennedy girls? Not the Kennedy. The Skinner girls' mother, Louise. I'm going to call her, and I'm going to ask if her daughter is home. And if she is, then fine. We talk about this on the down low. No crime, no incident. But if she isn't there, well, I'm sure there's going to be a few questions about why I am the one reaching out to her. But still, I will handle it, won't I?
You always do.
You know, you do gooding. I love you, Marg, but get the kids back safe. I'll keep you updated.
Okay. I'm trying to keep that tear out of my voice, but it's hard. He's been so angry lately.
Was that Daddy on the phone?
Yes, sweetie, that was. He's still at work.
Isaac smiles. I could tell by the way you were speaking. You always speak like that to Daddy on the phone. It's like you have a different voice.
That's because Mommy loves Daddy so very much. I have different voices with you two, too, don't I?
Mm-hmm. They nod. Isabel says, I think it's your posh voice.
Mommy's posh voice. And what voice do you think I use with you? How would you describe it? And I am very quickly, they're very curious, just like me. They're also very intelligent and very clever children. She is going to attempt to quickly direct this off of her. And how would you describe the voice I use with you two?
And they look at each other. Mummy voice?
Oh, we could use a slightly better descriptor than that, couldn't we? Try. Use your words.
Isaac says, sometimes your voice when you speak to us is scary when we're not doing what we're told.
Mm-hmm.
And Isabel says, yeah, I would call Mummy voice scary.
That's not what I need right now. I'll smile as patiently and lovingly as I can, and I'm going to push them out in front of me, and we're going to try to get home as quickly as we can.
As you are walking home, a somewhat broken woman at this point, but you'll mend. You've been through worse than this. As you walk past all the front lawns and know that yours is the best one in town, as you look at all the white picket fences and realise, oh, how twee, at least your front lawn has something remarkable about it with your sculpture piece that you bought from an actual artist, from an actual sculptor. I mean, that was a talking point for a long time. You can always make yourself feel a little better by taking in the suburbs, by breathing in the community, by making yourself feel like you're part of something grander. It's when you're focusing on something as small as your family. That's when you start feeling adrift, unmoored. Could I ask you to make a perception roll, please?
This will be an 11.
Of course, as you're looking at all of the houses, and naturally drawn to looking in the little alleys and trails that run between some of the homes around here, thinking, what if that guy you saw in the footage is somewhere around here? You do see a flash of movement. Catches in your throat. It does look like a figure, man-shaped, heavy coat, darker than his surroundings, but recognizable enough, and just standing between two of the houses, oddly not looking toward you, so the open road, not looking in the opposite direction, so toward the scrub and the barrens and the wilderness beyond, instead just staring at the side of a house. But as you get parallel with him, he disappears over one of the fences. There's a lift and then gone. Could just be someone forgot their keys, but it gives you shivers.
It does. It could be the stress. I feel that a lot after Josh and I talk sometimes. It could be I didn't see that at all. Or maybe someone just left their keys. And I'm not carrying right now. I usually do, but it was just down the street. It was just at a barbecue. And I know better than to pursue whatever that was, whether it was real or imagined. I have my children with me. They have to be my primary priority at this point. I need to get them home. So I linger there for a moment, staring at the fence, and then we're going to keep moving.
Tell us how you feel about your husband. What is the relationship between Margot and Josh like these days?
I love Josh, and I know Josh loves me too. He's funny in this dry way when he wants to be, and he loves the children. We live in a house with plenty of love. There's no shortage of adoration in our home. And that's what I've been telling myself for the past few years. Josh has been spending a lot of time at work. I know he's busy, but I also know that I can be uncomfortable for him to be around. I betrayed his trust. I owned up to it. I did.
Yeah, you know with Josh that is always the first step toward repentance. Coming clean. Likewise, you know that there's nothing that irritates him more than a long-standing lie.
I am trying so hard. I am throwing everything that I have, everything that I am, at this marriage to help him find his way back to me, to help us bridge this gap of forgiveness. It'll just take time. It'll just take time.
Doug, you get the message from Margot, requesting a call. You have got back home. How have you handled Sally now that you're back? Have you given her any care and attention, or basically told her to just get to bed?
I haven't told her just to go to bed. No, when we got back home, I sent her to the den to watch some TV and make herself a drink, a soft drink, of course, and just relax, just be safe, because I'm in the house, and we're safe. And my house is safe. We have the best security systems, we have the latest gadgets. I'm quite fond of keeping up on that sort of thing. And our house is secure. Now, then of course I paced for about 2 minutes, thinking of exactly what to do next. Obviously, you phoned the police. But I needed to wait for Margot to confirm what had actually happened, just in case, and I'm really hoping this is the case, that maybe my daughter wasn't lying, but just things didn't quite happen as dramatically as she said. I already have her story right now. When I get the information, well, then we need to decide what to do. And, of course, I wouldn't admit this to anyone else, but after my daughter's immediate safety, the second thing I'm thinking about is the goddamn timing of all this. This is not the time for our community to be rocked by such a danger. Not with the bloody everything happening soon. But, again, at that point, the text comes through. and I see it, and I immediately ring Margot.
Who are you on the phone to, honey? Deborah walks in with Charlie in arms. You're back earlier than I thought. Not work, I hope. Sorry, I won't interrupt, she says. Turns around, Charlie still in arms, but you know there's going to be suspicion there immediately.
I am a little confused, because my wife was at the party, and if anything, I told her we needed to come home, and then...
Oh, you're more than a little bit confused, Doug. You are considerably more than a little bit confused. Because Deborah said she would be right behind you. The sitter was here, remember, with the baby?
Exactly. The sitter who was supposed to have been looking after my daughter as well.
But you've got back. The first thing you did was send Sally to the den, as you say. Soft drink of choice. You get on the phone to Margot, and then walking out from the kitchen with Charlie in arms is your wife, who is acting like she wasn't even at the barbecue with you. But the phone rings, and Margot, do you pick up?
I do. And I'm going to do everything I can to get back into the driver's seat of this presentation that I put off. Mr. Kennedy.
I kind of say nothing for a few seconds as I sort of stare at my wife, very confused, and then I kind of just shake my head and say, yeah, Margot, did you, I then very quickly walk into another room. Did you see the footage?
I did. It's upsetting footage.
What did you see exactly?
I'm going to send it to you now. I've already forwarded it to Josh. Do you have it?
I pause for a moment. I was, of course, going to suggest that Josh be informed about this matter, but I'd been hoping she wouldn't have done it just yet, but I suppose she has. No harm in that. I look at the footage. Do I see the same footage she saw?
Yeah, it hasn't changed.
Well, there you have it. You've told Josh. What did he say he was doing?
He's going to call Fiona's mother, see if she made it home.
Okay. After that, you tell him that we need to go check that area right now. You, me, him, maybe bring someone else. Kevin, maybe, I don't know. We need to get this sorted quickly. You understand, right?
I do. With exacting clarity. Doug.
Good.
The man in the footage, does he feel familiar to you?
Why would he? It's a strange question.
Look at it again.
Sure. Anyway, yes, you get back to me as soon as you can. I'm here at home right now. Sally's fine. And we just need to we need to get Josh. We need to get on this. And again, just for the moment, just... Well, you called Josh. He knows what to do. You know how to tell him what to do. This needs to be handled in a smart way. We don't want to just panic people for no reason, right?
No, I completely agree. And we have far too much on the line for this type of incident to be occurring right now. May I bring the twins over to Deborah? Is she staying at home?
Yeah, she got home very quick, actually. Yes, that makes sense, actually. Good idea. Yeah, bring them here, bring them to the homestead, and they'll be fine, and then we can all get this sorted. And, again, let me know as soon as possible. This sort of thing needs to be handled quickly.
I understand, Mr. Kennedy. I'll see you soon.
And as I hang up, I breathe a little sigh of relief. Good. Margot, as always, sharp on it. And again, it's not like I wasn't going to tell Josh. It's just... Josh needs to understand that this sort of matter needs to be handled carefully. After all, announcing to the public at a time like this that there could be a dangerous child murderer on the loose with no leads and information, well, that's not going to make anyone happy. That's going to make people stressed. It's going to make things worse, and it won't help this girl. And again, I do feel a cold sweat as I think about the girl Fiona. We need to be out there looking for her now.
The front door unlocks and your wife steps through. I'm sorry, honey, it took me a while to get away.
Yes, well, as I was saying at the barbecue, something has happened. Deborah.
Have you settled payment with the sitter?
Yes, that should all be direct debit. Done. Listen, Deborah, we need to focus. I go over and I try and clasp her on the shoulder. Something very important happened. Now, I'm handling it, we're handling it, but, well,
Doug,
I couldn't tell you at the party.
You're squeezing pretty hard, and I'm not saying I don't like it, but your voice isn't... Let me go, take a breath. She smiles. There's a big grin on her face, in fact.
Is she still wearing the clothing she was at the party?
Yeah. Okay, so... And she actually pries your hand off of her shoulder. Sally came to the party, we've come home. And she looked like she'd been through the wars. Have you spoken to her?
Yes. Now, like I said, it's all being handled. But basically...
Good, because I have been looking forward, and now she puts her hands around your neck. There's a small amount of height difference between you. It allows her to almost hang down off your shoulders. I have been waiting for an opportunity for us to get alone where Sally is off doing her thing and Charlie's asleep. And I don't know, maybe I had a couple of drinks and a good time.
This is highly unusual. Deborah has not been like this for quite a few years now. And now she's like this tonight. I kind of gently push her away and say, No, Deborah, you're not listening. Sally and her friend have just been attacked. They've been assaulted.
Her pleased expression clearly disappears.
Yes, it's the truth. She came to the party because she was do you remember Fiona, little friend Fiona? They were walking by the fucking outskirts of town, and they say someone started chasing after them. They ran into the woods. Sally got away, but she doesn't know what happened to Fiona. I've just been on the phone with Margot. She's got the footage, and there is some fucking monster chasing them.
All right. Language, Doug. I don't want Charlie growing up with bad ideas.
No, but you understand why I'm being serious.
Of course. Now, and she puts her hand out in a sort of moderation tone. When Sally says she was assaulted, she looks at you as if to say, Really, Sally? You know she likes stories. And she's been so eager for your attention recently.
That did cross my mind.
Don't you
Deborah.
think that this footage might just be some kind of, prank? You know, that like she's always watching that show Impractical Jokers.
I frown. I hand my phone over to her and show her the footage. You're telling me that looks like a prank, Deborah? Come on, Deborah, snap to it. Use your big brain.
Well, You're getting none of this, she points down, tonight. If you're going to speak to me like that. Deborah is being very strange. She is vacillating, whiplashing from point to point and mood to mood. Not only is it unlike her to be amorous around you, Doug, it's certainly unlike her to be turned on at a time like this. It's unsettling. And she watches the footage. She isn't smiling. She hands the phone back. She nods. Okay, I see. I'll go up and speak to Sally.
Good, that's a good idea. Now, in the meantime, while you're doing that, again, I'm gonna get Josh on it, and I'm probably gonna go out, and we're just gonna have a little look, just in case. And guess what? Well, you know what? If Fiona's nice and safe at home, then howdy do, thank you God. But, if not...
Okay, honey, you go out and circle the wagons, patrol the perimeter, do everything you need to do. I'll speak to Sally and get to the truth behind this. If you're going to take the gun, make sure you take some ammunition for it.
I won't need the gun. I say, thinking to myself, actually, maybe I should take the gun. After all, this guy is out there. He needs to be sorted. He needs to be dealt with. People like this need to be dealt with. That's how the world works. And then I turn, and again I just look at her. She's being so unusual. On one hand, it's not all bad. She's actually paying attention, and part of the reason we've been having trouble lately is because she just stopped. At some point, the woman I used to think was quite clever, quite on it, just stopped, just started taking all this suburban life a little too placidly, thinking it's all gonna come to you, forgetting that you need to work to keep the world a better place. And then suddenly tonight she was completely oblivious to my initial inquiries, and now she's like this, and I just sort of say, you're okay, aren't you? I understand this is worrying, and like I said, I'm handling it, but our daughter's safe. She's safe. Whatever happens, she's safe. I made sure of that.
Can you make a soul see through the illusion roll?
I roll 2, and my soul rating is -2, so that is a 0.
So this is more of a mental collapse than actually seeing anything with any clarity. You are bombarded with an abstract of women's genitalia. Heaving, pulsing, dripping genitalia. It is everywhere you look in the room, no more so than when you look at your wife standing there. She is currently, to you, an enormous quivering vulva. And there's a hunger to it, a gynecological element to it. There's clearly no erotica here. There is no attraction here. This is like some kind of aquatic life form just gupping and gawping at you. You can't help with that roll but fall back and hit yourself on the countertop, hurting your back. You think you may have even cracked a rib, but that isn't the concern right now. It is just what you are looking at is something beyond disturbing. Even the drapes on the window, the crockery, the kitchen worktop, everything you can see right now, it is a drowning sensation of women's parts. Margot, you show up with the twins. Deborah is there smiling.
The twins have been instructed that little Sally needs a friend, and they can check in on baby Charlie too. And they're going to hang out with Miss Deborah for some time tonight. Deborah, hi.
Hi, Margot. Meeting again so soon.
So soon. I can't thank you enough for holding on to the twins. Thank you.
Doug's and she looks and sees Doug has fallen over. Doug, are you okay?
Oh my gosh.
I have fallen back into the counter. I've hurt my head or my back, I don't know. I have no idea how to even compute what I've just seen, and I blink in pain. After the pain, I look up. Is it still there?
I think on that roll, to a degree, yes, in parts. You can't see your wife's face without seeing it again through this prism of genitalia. Her mouth, her cheeks, her eyes, everything looks yonic. It exudes a feel of sexuality and reproduction that is deeply unpleasant to a man's man like yourself.
I close my eyes. I begin crawling up, trying to keep my eyes closed.
I think he's having a panic attack, Margot.
Water. I need to see the glass of water.
Yeah. Deborah runs to the counter. Margot, this is all highly irregular.
This is highly irregular, and this is exactly what I don't need right now. However, Doug needs support in this moment. He needs someone to ground him, and let's be honest, that's not going to be Deborah. So I am going to walk very slowly, very intentionally towards him, and I'm going to do everything I can to lock eyes with him to see if I can get Doug focused on me. Just me, nothing else in the room. Doug? Hey, I need you here with me.
I am shaken to my core. I have no idea what is happening. Is it something in the drink I had tonight? Am I actually suffering stress from my daughter's lack of safety? Why am I seeing such horrifying imagery? This is disgusting. I start mentally praying to God to cleanse my brain, and then I kind of open my eyes just a little as I feel Margot touch me. It's still...
Make a coolness roll, Craig. Let's see if you lash out or accept Margot's comforting words.
20.
Yeah, Margot seems to be your lodestone in this case. Deborah brings you a glass of water. She no longer looks horrifying. That doesn't mean, however, that you are without damage. Your stability has dropped all the way to shaken based on that outcome.
Doug, can you talk me through it?
I'm fine, Margot. I think I was really worried about Sally. I'm really worried about the other girl. It seems to have overcome me. Thank you. And I kind of grip her back quite firmly. It's...
Take this water, honey. I'll get the kids up with Sally and make sure Charlie's okay. You spend time with your friend. Thank you, Margot. Thank you for looking after him. He doesn't often have these turns, but, he works so hard. And she looks at Doug with a thin smile, taking Isabel and Isaac away.
I take in a few deep breaths. I continue to grip Margot. It does actually comfort me. I find myself remembering childhood days when we were all kids. Me, Margot, and even Kevin. And things were simpler back then, of course. And it does make me come back a little, and I say, Sorry, Margot. It's quite an evening, right? I'll be fine. Let me just sit down and have some water, and let's get back on track.
Mr. Kennedy, I'm the last one that you ever have to apologize to. Okay?
Nice of you to say. Let's focus. So, as Josh got back to you, our kids are all here. We need to be... I can pack some stuff. We need to be ready to get out there and start looking. You, me, Kevin, Josh. That should be it. We don't need anyone else just yet. I don't think.
I'll touch base with Josh. Do you want to call Kevin?
Could you do that, actually? I just need to catch my breath. I say, chugging down the water, trying to forget what I saw. It must just be stress.
I pull my eyebrows together a bit in a slight furrow, and I'm going to look you over once and twice. I need you to tell me that you're okay.
I'm okay. I will be okay. I just need to focus. I don't know, I just saw something in the dark that I guess made me think a bit Strange things. I'm fine, really. And already I'm trying to put back on the usual smile and confidence I normally exude.
I am very familiar with putting on those type of masks, and I am not going to interrupt his own process to do the same. I smile, and I am going to step outside to check in with Josh.
Josh picks up. Marg? Where are you now?
The kids and I are at the Kennedy household.
Mm-hmm.
Did Fiona make it home?
Doesn't sound like it, no. I'm just heading my way over to the Miller's in case she stopped by the barbecue like Sally did. I haven't put out any kind of APB yet. For all I know, she's just playing grab ass in the woods or whatever, but make sure you're looking after the kids, okay, if it's another outsider come to town.
They're here with Deborah. Kevin, Doug, and I, we're going to head to the tracks, pick up the backpack.
Yeah? Well, I'll tell Kevin to go and meet you then, because I'm just pulling into his drive right now, and you can hear the car pull in as he says so. Listen, I don't want you organizing some kind of mob here. I don't need that. Those kinds of things can destroy evidence. If there is evidence, this could all be a big nothing. I've looked at the video again. I know where it is. I will see if I can find Sally Kennedy's bag, and I will head out from there.
Okay.
But you three can certainly do a perimeter. Just don't interfere with anything. If you find evidence, you call me. You do not pick it up. Listen, I know you know all of this, Marg. I know you probably know procedure better than I do from all the shows you watch. But I need you to take this one seriously, okay?
You know, that actually hurts on multiple levels. All the shows that I watch, I have a fucking law degree. And it's amazing how quickly he can forget that sometimes. All the shows that I watch, of course I know, but I don't say anything. I don't articulate any of that because in this moment, he's working with me and not against me. And she's just going to get into that seat and she is just going to ride it. Okay, honey. We're going to head out soon. I'll let you know if we find anything.
Yeah, you know Josh's professional estimation for you, his respect for you went down the moment you started popping out kids and became a mother. The moment you started doing what you both agreed on, that you wanted a family, and he was never more happy than when your twins were born. Really, you've never seen Josh more exuberant. But it's like your stock has sank in his eyes ever since you committed to that. Ever since you did what you agreed and played house mom.
It's so fucking unfair. I am depreciating in value by the moment on something that we mutually agreed to.
Okay, Marg. You let me know if you hear anything, and I want to hear from you, not Kevin or Doug. Between you and me, I think you've got the best head out of the three of you. Anyway, I need to knock on Kevin's door. I'll make sure he's up to speed. But again, no further, just you three.
I understand, baby. I'll keep you posted.
Mm-hmm. He disconnects. Knock, knock, knock at Kevin's door. Everyone from the barbecue has headed home now, Kevin. You made your apologies, you had your small talk, you laughed a little about what happened, of course. To a degree, they're all talking about, have you heard there's a girl missing? No, that's just a rumour. No, someone was just watching a YouTube video. That kind of thing's been going on. It has taken some of the shine off of your argument with Laura, which is fantastic, but you've not been able to subdue that conversation entirely. As Stacey left she gave you a wink and said, I caught a glimpse of that picture. Impressive stuff, Mr. Miller. And then off she went. Now, knocking at the door comes Josh, the sheriff. Kevin.
I'll open the door, of course. Sheriff, what brings you here? You missed the barbecue, I'm afraid.
Yeah, working. Has Fiona Skinner been here? Her mother is worried sick.
I wish I could say yes, but unfortunately no. Everyone's gone now, and she hasn't shown up.
Mm-hmm.
Is she alright? Do you know anything?
Well, that remains to be seen, Kev. Margot and Doug are very concerned that something might have happened, and obviously I am slowly getting that way. Her mother hasn't seen her all evening, so, search party. You, Margot, Doug. I'll drive you to where they are intending on starting their search. I'll be doing mine from the opposite direction. Got that?
Got it, yeah.
Now, get the deputies involved, but you know how it is. Bad gas travels fast in a small town. I'd rather keep this to our chests.
Yeah, we gotta look out for the community. Look out for their best interests in this.
You okay, Kevin? You look like you've had a rough night.
To tell you the truth, Josh, it's been fucking awful. I really wish I didn't try to arrange a barbecue on a fucking Monday. Anyway, let's
Yeah,
go.
it was a bit of a dumbass move. But, hell, it's done us a favor. If the worst has happened, if something has happened to Fiona, do you know what your barbecue does for us? It's an alibi for about half the people that live here. So, you know, you couldn't have known, could you?
No, definitely not. Well, anything that helps narrow down who's behind all this is a good thing.
Listen, I need you to do me a favor, Kev. Grab your coat, I'll tell you on the way.
I'll do just that. Family's asleep anyways, and there's nothing really I can do here. There's a bunch of stuff that needs to be cleaned up in the garden still. Bottles of Miller High Life strewn about. But, I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? Laura's gonna be pissed off at me over the messy garden? I mean, come on.
It's likely, but not the greatest of your concerns right now. Hey, is that a High Life back there?
It's the family brand, you know, I say, smiling.
I'll have one for the road.
I'll give him bring two for him.
Practically water, anyway. Alright. As you get into the sheriff's car and start driving to the arranged rendezvous with Margot and Doug, he says, Kevin, like I said, I got a favor to ask of you. And I wouldn't normally ask. I need you to keep an eye on Margot. Sometimes when she gets a bee in her bonnet about a mystery or some outsider coming to town, she starts pointing fingers and making accusations. That's exactly what we don't need. You're the one with the best head on his shoulders out of this group, so make sure she doesn't start acting like a dog with a firecracker up its ass.
I'll do what I can, Josh.
Anyway, how's the team?
Oh, we still suck, but we're gonna get better.
Steve Sanderson, hey?
Yeah.
Coming home.
That's such a huge event for the town. I immediately forget about everything else, and now we're talking football. This is what I love.
Yeah, did you see him play the other week? That was one hell of a game.
Yeah, he really is making us all proud. I think he's going to end up in the Hall of Fame one day. He just needs to come back from this injury now. That's all.
Oh, he'll get there, alright. And, there's a lot of credit owed to you, Mr. Miller. I remember when we were coming up together, Well, you could have been Steve Sanderson, I guess, if it wasn't for that injury.
And with that, I'm reconfronted with something that I think about quite often, which is just that my life could have been Steve's, basically. I could have been someone. I could have been on TV. I could have been someone that everyone looked up to. I had what it would have taken, but with that injury.
He turns the car onto the dirt road. Yeah, well, back when we were kids, huh? It was a different time. What is it they say? The more things change, the more they stay the fucking same.
Ain't that the truth?
Well, here's hoping we can clear up whatever this misunderstanding is before Steve arrives in town. I wouldn't want that hanging over things.
That's true. Gotta try and protect him too. Yeah, let's get this done.
Well, yeah, and he stops the car. This is where Margot and Doug will shortly be arriving. He turns in the driver's seat, points at you. Not aggressively, but he levels a finger with you. I need you to think of that, Kev. Steve isn't going to want to visit Novaville if there's some headline hanging over it of young girl raped and murdered or anything like that. Like I said, keep Marg in check. She has an imagination. Sometimes the simplest answer is the right one.
You're right. I'll do what I can. Do what I can to keep them focused and avoid this spiraling out of control, which it fortunately easily could.
You know, this reminds me of when we were at high... Oh, there's Marg and Doug just coming. This reminds me of when we were kids. Do you remember when I got you to take those photos? Well, I say... I took those photos under the stalls in the girls' changing room, and then when the principal had us in his office, you took the blame for me. You took the heat.
Well, it's the least I could do. I was gonna get away with that. I was the quarterback, after all.
Yeah. Well, and all I did, I just asked. I said, "Hey, Kev, do you mind having this camera?" And you just took it. Anyway, he opens the window. Mark, Doug, I've got Kev here. How'd you get?
And I'll do just that.
He calls through the window. I'm going to do a circle the other side of the woods. You start your walk from here, okay? Again, call me if you find anything. I'll see you later, Mark.
I smile. I'll offer a wave. He's not even going to bother getting out of the car.
No. He gives you a as he tends to do, and with a wheel spin, gravel flying, he drives back to start his own search.
I give him a little wave of farewell as he heads off.
He gives you nothing, Doug, because Josh doesn't like you.
Oh, I know that, but that's fine. I don't really like him either, but if he does as he's told, hopefully this will all go down well. And again, he does know how to do his job. At least I think he does. Not as good as Margot, of course, but, well, that's another story. For now, I have my flashlight ready, my mobile phone, my nice coat, good for cold weather like this, and I'm really trying to focusing on this and completely dismissing what happened earlier. I clearly was stressed. Maybe it was Deborah acting in a weird way. Maybe that was even a nice thing. I don't know. Me and Deborah, it's complicated, I suppose, but who knows. But now we're here on a job, and I see Kevin, and I go over and pat him on the shoulder. Kevin, there you are. Good man. I said, for this sort of thing, you're a guy who gets things done. You always have been.
I'm glad to hear that, Doug. It's been a weird day, huh?
You're telling me, but... Well, Margot, how should we do this? You're the one with the plans. What's the best search radius we can do?
I smile. Yeah, I think if we start from this point and we branch out, and Bridgett doesn't understand police procedure, but Margot does. So tactically, she's going to complement whatever Josh is doing, where they're at least going to be able to meet in the middle somehow.
Yeah.
So she'll be able to get all of that together. But I will look at Kevin and offer him my cell phone. It might be helpful if you see this footage.
And I'll have a look at it. And I suppose I'll see the footage of what happened then. And do I recognize this shape at all?
There is a reminiscence there. Could I ask you to see through the illusion?
12.
A memory. A daydream, almost. You find yourself thinking back to... well, I guess your early 20s. There was a creep like this around town back then. You remember him. You can't remember off the top of your head what became of him. You can smell smoke when you think of him, but it's like the barbecue earlier, like meat has been left on the grill a little too long and char is starting to form around the edges. A bit of char isn't too bad, but if you blacken the entire meat, it becomes useless at that point, only good for the dogs. For some reason, when you're thinking of this, you're thinking the memory is telling you, yeah, good for the dogs. Send the dogs in. They will finish this off. Are you dogs right now, the three of you? That man, the shape in the footage that you're looking at. You feel yourself salivating, like you need to hunt him. Like, yes, that's exactly what you are, like hunting dogs. Like, the bugle has been called and now it's time to go pounding off into the woods, following his trail. And it's a familiar feeling. You can't pinpoint it, as if you've suppressed that memory so deeply, but you know it's there. You know you have hunted before, as strange a realization that is. You can't help but wipe your mouth with your cuff. You shake it off. The daydream is over.
I'll hand the phone back. We're gonna find this person. We can do this if we work together.
Of course we can. We've done it before. And I lean over and I pat Kevin on the shoulder again. And sorry about earlier. I was gonna sort out everything for you, buddy, but well, then this happened, so you can see why I had to go. But don't worry about it. All that stuff at the barbecue, people won't even be thinking about that in a few days.
I don't know about that, but I hope you're right. I sure hope you're right.
I always am.
You're not wrong. All right, well, let's get going then. You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the scenario Tapestry of Suburbia from the scenario collection The Forbidden for KULT Divinity Lost. KULT Divinity Lost is published by Helmgast, who have also sponsored this series. Joining us as players in this series are none other than Bridgett Jeffries from Symphony Entertainment and our dear friend Matthew Dawkins. The music was made by Atrium Carceri, featuring a number of collaborations with other artists, and was used with permission from their label Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient for your gaming table. We'd like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon: Martin Heuschober, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Cameron, Antxon, and Graham Barey for their generous support. And we'd of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for KULT Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play KULT with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember that community is everything.